Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to old school comfort foods that aren't popular anymore. I don't know how far back we're going. Is it to like World War II times when food was rationed? Or before that, Victorian times? I don't know, because I know there's been some funky creations. Especially when I'm talking about World War II and World War One ration era Britain. When you'd have to just make these weird ass foods because you don't have much food to make, so you got to make the best of what you got, kind of thing. I don't know how far back this will be going, or if this is going to be focused on a certain location or what, but I am seeing tuna noodle casserole. I like tuna, I like noodles, and I don't mind casserole. Together, I don't know how this is going to be. But yeah, we're going to jump into this. If these are foods that you've had before, or you grew up on, or you still have, let me know. Are they any good, or are they not? But yeah, we're going to jump into this and see some of these foods.
Does reptile meat mixed with fortified wine sound appetizing to you?
No.
If not, then you'll absolutely understand why these old school comfort foods aren't very popular anymore. The 1950s were a time of some truly weird food creations. Some of them never quite made it out of the decade, while others have managed to hang around in some capacity. Tuna noodle casserole wasn't invented in...
This is tuna noodle casserole. I can't say it. It's like a tongue twister. Tuna noodle casserole. Whatever. It looks good from here, but I am seeing the tuna chunks, and I'm trying to understand how, like, is there cheese in this? Is there like pasta? It looks like there's a mixture of things.
In the 50s, as the recipe first appeared in 1930 in a magazine published in the Pacific Northwest. It was popular in the region well into World War II, where it gained popularity as a cheap, quick dish. By the 50s, it had spread to the Midwest, where it became a mainstay on many dinner tables for decades to come. That is, until the late 90s and early 2000s spelled its downward trend.
I feel like this is probably not too bad, I'll be honest.
It was the primary ingredient that spelled this casserole's end. After decades of continuous growth, sales of canned tuna began to see a decline in the 90s due to growing concerns about its healthfulness and sustainability.
A tuna casserole.
Yes,
May I serve?
please.
Many comfort foods today are pretty much ubiquitously popular across much of the United States.
Alla king.
But in the pre-internet era, it wasn't uncommon for comfort foods of decades past to never spread outside a particular region. That was the case for chicken a la king. At the turn of the 20th century, it was both a comfort food and an
looks like curry, to be honest. That's what I really see from this.
upscale dish popular
With
at
peas.
restaurants. It features diced chicken with mushrooms and peppers served in a cream sauce and poured over toast. While the name may sound a
Whoa.
little French, it was likely born and bred in the Big Apple.
New York!
Between 1910 and the 1960s,
Oh, you could buy it like in cans.
chicken a la king appeared on more than 300 menus and restaurants around the city. But by the late 70s, it had already begun to fade.
Damn.
Long before a bowl of cereal became a breakfast table staple, another simple dish held a similar place. Milk toast traces its origins at
Milk toast.
least as far back as the 1800s.
What?
It starts with a slice of toast, spread with butter, torn into pieces, and sprinkled with cinnamon and sugar. Then
Okay.
it's topped with milk that's been heated on the stove and seasoned with salt. It's tough to say exactly
It's probably quite good. It's weird to think of, but that actually sounds like it could be decent.
where this simple dish got its start, but it is known that as late as the 1930s, recipes for milk toast were included in cookbooks. While you may not hear about it much these days, a similar recipe is a popular childhood lunch item in Hong Kong. It's called condensed milk toast, and it consists of toast spread with condensed milk and butter. In the 1990s, sloppy
that.
joes were a staple of lunchroom
Wait, are sloppy joes still not like very popular?
cafeterias and potluck dinners.
That looks class.
But this messy creation was actually invented decades earlier. Some think it was created in 1930 when a cook named Joe from Sioux City, Iowa mixed loose meat with tomato sauce and served it on bread. Others claim that it originated at Sloppy Joe's bar in Key West, Florida. And still others believe that it was originally a take on a classic Cuban dish. either picadillo or ropa vieja, and that it was being served in Havana as early as 1917. In any case, Sloppy Joes saw a rise in their popularity at the end of the
I feel like this is one of those ones where they're still popular, so I don't really know what's happening here.
20th century, but then they all but disappeared elsewhere by the end of the 90s. While the culprit behind its demise isn't exactly clear, it likely made its way out of cafeterias due to campaigns to reform school lunch programs.
I made them extra sloppy for you.
That does not look
First
good.
appeared in cookbooks in the 18th century in France and Belgium, but the term has its origins in Switzerland from around the same time, when it was used to refer to a meal made from bread that was often stale, dipped in cheese to make it soft, and help stretch rations during the winter. Fondue exploded in popularity in the United States in
Never
1964
had
after
fondue.
it was featured in the Alpine-themed restaurant in the Swiss Pavilion at the World's Fair. Then Switzerland's cheesemakers banded together to create a union and prevent competition. They launched a marketing campaign in the 70s that featured actors dressed in skiing outfits, dipping bread, meats, and more into creamy pots of melted cheese. Home fondue pots then grew in popularity, and soon
I feel like from this you'd just end up wasting so much cheese, wouldn't you? Because I assume you don't. I mean, maybe you can reheat it. I assume you probably don't, but I don't know, like, how it works around this. But I've never actually had it before.
fondue house parties were also a growing trend. But like most trends, it faded away by the end of the decade, though it popped back up in the early 2000s. You can still dip all manner of appetizers in creamy cheese at many fondue restaurants, but DIY kits have once again disappeared from most store shelves.
Do you fondue?
White gravy was already a popular
Chipped beef
cheap
on
military
toast.
ration by the time of
Eh?
World War I, when chipped beef made its
What
way
the
into
hell
the
is
recipe.
that?
These thin slices of smoked salted beef were served on a slice of toast and then smothered in gravy to make a
That's
hot, simple
gravy.
dish to fill soldiers' stomachs. While it was gaining new and alternative ingredients, like parsley for flavor or tomato sauce to thicken the dish, chipped beef also made its way into the mainstream. Variations were a cheap meal for families during the Great Depression, and later as a popular breakfast dish at diners in Pennsylvania. Some national chains have even offered it on their menus. But while chipped beef lives on primarily as a military dish, even they've
I feel like this is probably actually really nice. It's just, it looks very unappetizing. But I assume it is actually just, it's very good.
altered the recipe to make it healthier, usually trading the chipped beef for very lean ground beef or ground turkey. Long before DoorDashers were racing through the street, TV dinners were a mainstay for American
TV
families
dinners.
short on time and looking for simple solutions. Frozen dinners as a concept were actually created before households had a microwave to heat them in.
Oh.
In the mid-1920s, Clarence Birdseye developed a machine that could
Clarence Birdseye. Birdseye goes all the way back to these times. Bloody hell.
freeze packaged fish to help it stay safe.
This guy is like a staple of everyone's childhood, man. And probably adulthood, because they do like peas and stuff now, don't they? But like, obviously they've got, I mean, I know them for like fish fingers and chicken nuggets and like, yeah, like just breaded fish a lot of the case. Bloody hell, that's pretty interesting to see that it goes this far back.
Longer. A couple of decades later, frozen dinners hit the scene, but only as meals served on airlines. It would take until 1953 for 260 tons of frozen leftover Thanksgiving turkey to inspire a Swanson salesman to create partitioned aluminum trays filled with turkey and sides to freeze and sell to the public. And
Damn.
thus, TV dinners were born. The frozen meal industry saw rapid growth from the mid-50s until the turn of the 21st century, but 2008 marked the beginning of the end of this comfort food's reign, as frozen dinners saw their first decline in almost 60 years, a trend that's continued.
Oh, so they're like a specific like, frozen. She's just on about just frozen meals, isn't she? I mean, I do wonder, like, how would frozen meals have been like in these times compared to now? I feel like they probably would have been better in these times, because now everything is so mass produced. It's probably just a bit well, it isn't great. It just does the job kind of thing. This was probably just a lot better to stand out. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm assuming.
Frozen dinners saw their first decline in almost 60 years, a trend that's continued with only brief pauses since then. While the name might say egg, you won't find any yolks or whites in an egg cream. Or any cream for that matter. Instead, it has just 3 ingredients: whole milk, soda water, and chocolate syrup.
What did you say, an egg cream?
This sweet comfort
so
drink is
confused.
thought by some to have been invented in the 1880s, when a Yiddish theater star by the name of Boris Tomaszewski decided to recreate a chocolat et cream drink that he'd had in Paris. But most historians seem to agree that a Jewish candy store owner named Louis Oster actually invented the drink. He's also rumored to have regularly sold some 3,000 of his creations in a single day. The
Damn.
creator of the original egg cream took the recipe for his syrup to the grave. But most Brooklyn natives swear that the only way to make one today is Fox's You Bet chocolate syrup. While you can still find egg cream served in Brooklyn, they began to fade in popularity by the 60s and are largely unheard of outside of New York. Long before army soldiers dug into
Beans and
piles of
franks.
creamed beef on toast, they were eating baked beans. This canned food staple
They know their food, man. They know good food when they see it.
first emerged around the Civil War. Then, sometime around the 1890s, someone had the idea to add chopped
Beanie
sausages to
weenie.
the mix, and thus a new comfort food was born. By 1980, beans and franks were
Wait, so beans used to actually be ate in the US then, or eaten, not ate. Like, I was under the impression that just buying beans was not a thing in the US, but obviously this is beans with sausages. By the way, beans with sausages in a can is abysmal. I tried them a couple times when I was younger. Bro, that is like, the sausage in it is dog shit, bro. I mean, it's not supposed to be good quality, but my goodness, it is poor quality.
thus a new comfort food was born. By 1980, beans and franks were widely available pre-made in cans. This combo
Damn.
was at one time such a staple of the American diet that it even had a
Really?
holiday dedicated in its honor, as National Beans and Franks Day comes around every July 13th. But both of the main ingredients have taken a hit in recent years. The healthiness of hot dogs has especially been called into question many times in the past couple of decades. For example, in 2021, researchers at the University of Michigan estimated that a single hot dog can shave 36 minutes off your life. You probably
Fucking hell,
wouldn't
who
consider
judges that? One hot dog can shave 36 minutes of your life, bro. Who's judging that, bro? It's such a dumb statement.
eating turtles.
Turtles? Oh my god. I guess this is this is the meat. What the hell is this? Is that also like just the fat of the turtle or what?
In any form to be comfort food.
Oh,
But
God.
not so long ago, turtle soup was considered a delicacy for the upper crust. It was so popular, in fact, that it practically wiped out an entire species.
Oh my
The
da-
diamondback terrapin was the turtle
Wow.
of choice for hardscrabble diners, until it shifted from a subsistence food to an upper-class menu item in the mid-19th century. Sherry was a key ingredient, and when Prohibition hit, turtle soup went the way of the dodo. The terrapins eventually recovered, though
Okay.
more than half of all turtle and tortoise species remain endangered. Turtle soup eventually made a bit of a recovery, as it was found on menus as recently as the mid-20th century, but it's not exactly the easiest
What
dish
the
to prepare,
fuck?
owing in part to the difficulty of removing the shell and separating usable parts from the less desirable elements. Nowadays, it's seen
Jesus
as a strange
Christ, bro, what the
delicacy in much
fuck?
of the Western world rather than anything resembling a comfort food.
Am I not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
Is it steak, is it hamburger, or
Salisbury
is it a
Steak.
little of both? Salisbury steak remains one of the lasting mysteries of 20th century comfort food trends, though it originated long before that. As reported by Smithsonian Magazine, Dr. James Salisbury believed that his chopped steak could cure chronic diarrhea in Civil War soldiers.
Oh.
By the time processed foods were becoming a staple of the American diet, Salisbury steak had found its way into TV dinners. But when TV dinners began waning in popularity in the mid-1980s, so too did the Salisbury steak. Since then, it's never regained its place in the world of comfort food. With much better fare available, a pulverized meat substance formed into a patty doesn't exactly scream.
Yeah, this is probably all just like the scraps, isn't it? Let's be real. The scraps of meat that you don't want to eat anywhere else. You just mush it all together and put it in this.
Comfort. Here's hoping it never makes a comeback.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
JellO Salad, an odd combination of name brand gelatin and just about anything you can find in the
Is that
refrigerator,
cheese?
was a comfort food standard when JellO ruled the
Oh,
processed
God.
food world. There were variations for just about every taste or lack thereof. Onions, peppers, tuna, green olives, shrimp, carrots, spinach, and other various vegetables all somehow managed to get mixed together with this classic gelatin.
I feel like jelly's one of those things that I can just never picture having savoury. It just has to be sweet for me. Like with fruit, I'm all on it, man. I understand it. But with savoury stuff, I just can't get behind that.
With all these creative combinations circulating around domestic dining rooms, it's not too difficult to see what might have knocked JellO Salad off the comfort food buffet. As it turns out, fish, vegetables, and meat suspended in reconstituted connective tissue ultimately aren't all that appetizing. Once cooler heads prevailed, JellO jiggled back to its previous self-proclaimed status as America's most famous dessert,
Yeah,
and
good.
JellO Salad became nothing more than a distant memory.
I do love jelly, by the way, or jello. It's such a, it's just so satisfying to me because it's just nothing as well. It's just water, realistically, isn't it? But it is very satisfying to eat.
Almost as controversial as the infamous Washington, D.C.
Oh my god, is this the salad with mayonnaise in it? I don't know if this is the one I'm thinking of. The mayonnaise salad, the mayonnaise fruit salad. This doesn't look like mayonnaise, so I don't think so.
hotel it's named for. Watergate salad was a picnic and potluck staple in the not-so-distant past. This combination of pistachio pudding mix, marshmallows, whipped cream, and pineapple,
Oh.
topped with chopped nuts and cherries, charmed visitors
alright.
to the Watergate Hotel before making its way to deli counters and grocery stores across America. But now, it's disappeared just as much as a certain portion of former President Nixon's White House tapes.
Well, I'm not a crook.
If you think of Watergate salad as Ambrosia salad's hipper younger sibling, then you can get a sense of why it had its moment. The name itself may be partly to blame for its downfall. The Watergate scandal made a mess of the American presidency that still reverberates
Surely
to
that's promotion for it. Oh God. Surely that didn't lead to the fall off of this food.
this day.
I'm
But
sure-
also,
I'm sure.
the waning popularity of JellO pudding mix and JellO salads is what really did this
Oh, pistachio jello.
fluffy comfort food in. As a culinary relic that's best
fuck?
left in the past,
Cool.
Watergate salad is now a kitschy reference to the days when government conspiracies were just reserved for the tabloids.
Damn. Well, there we go. It was cool to see some of these. Some of these foods I feel like are just great. Sloppy Joes and Salisbury Steak are both 100% awesome. Fire whoever edited this. I still make chicken Alla King. Yeah, I feel like this is just a thing that people just... I don't see why that would have fell off. It just seems like a thing that people just always make something similar anyway. I still cook Sloppy Joes for my family. Yeah, I feel like Sloppy Joes is still a thing, especially from like fast food chains. Isn't there like fast food chains that sell it or something like that? I don't know, but this was an interesting video to look back at some of the foods of the past. Like I said, if you've grown up with these or if you still eat these or whatever it is, let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Until next time, like, subscribe, and peace.